Hello, everybody, and welcome into Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet, presented by Betway. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog, joined alongside by Adam Peddle. We've got a World Series matchup, folks.
Whoa.
New York Yankees, LA Dodgers, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie. The list of star power goes on forever. This is, if MLB could have scripted any possible
It is
anything,
scripted.
It feels that way.
It is scripted.
I mean, if you had to, no, seriously, like all kidding aside, it does feel that way, just based on like the blockbuster levels of hype that is going to surround this series. These are titans going up against one another. I honestly wouldn't have it any other way, folks. This is going to be one hell of a series. We're going to break down the entire thing, talk about what these two teams had to do to get to this place. Our World Series picks. I want you got to tell me the number of games. You got to tell me the MVP. You got to tell me who's going. The big time moments. We're going to get into all of that and more in this one. Tell me first off, though, when you got the update that it was in fact going to be the LA Dodgers up against the New York Yankees. How did you feel about that matchup right there?
Well, first of all, I felt like it was kind of destined to be the way that both of those series went down in the NL and the AL. Like, Yankees in 5, Dodgers in 6. They just dominated the entire time.
They did.
They absolutely dominated the entire time. So part of me wasn't surprised. But earlier me, like way back in spring training, if you were to tell me that it would be Dodgers and Yankees, my reaction would be, oh, of course. Of course, it had to be Yankees and Dodgers. But you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell that past me saying, hey, you don't understand how exciting this is going to be. Because I genuinely, when I heard that update, Nick, I got excited because this is actually entertaining baseball. And you know what? I think back to John Heyman when Ohtani went over to the Dodgers and he said, this is good for baseball, him going to the Dodgers. I think he might be right because him in the biggest stage, in the biggest spotlight against the Yankees in the World Series is actually really good for the game of baseball. You were telling me that there was Super Bowl numbers going on in Japan watching Ohtani during the NLCS. Imagine what the numbers are going to be like in the World Series, Super Bowl plus.
Yes.
So this is phenomenal, and I cannot wait for it this Friday. We're going to be live, by the way. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
we got to be live for that game one, and I'm excited. What about you? What did you feel like?
Yeah, no, I'm the same way, folks. Just a little insider info. Maybe we talked about this, maybe we didn't, but we created this entire channel, Bad for Baseball, based off of the fact that John Heyman made a comment talking about how Shohei Ohtani going to any small town, small market team would be bad for baseball. And at the time, it was like, dude, what the hell, man? Like, why are you firing shots? And why am I catching strays right now for living not in LA or not in New York? But I do agree that this is just going to be so good for baseball, seeing both of these two legends go up against one another. Do I want to watch this every single year? No, I don't. No. But this is the season for it,
It hasn't happened in a while, too, right?
No.
Like, the Yankees have been trying for so long to go on a run and get back to the World Series. Finally, they're back. Finally, Yankee fans, I know they've been very privileged, but they're back, and it's great for them. And then on the other side of things, you've got, the LA Dodgers. Yeah, they won the Mickey Mouse, World Series in 2020, but now they got a chance to prove it for real in this time around. And fun fact, we're going to get a winner. We're going to get a World Series winner between Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. One of them will walk away with a ring because we've been talking about how all these legendary players, they need to have a ring on their Baseball Reference. They need to have that to go into the Hall of Fame. Not like they needed it already, but that just makes it a little bit more attractive. And this is a time where they can add that to the resume.
Yeah,
and one of them will.
One superstar is going to emerge, kind of victorious in this one. Not to say that the other guy is going to be screwed forever because
they'll
still going to have lots of time. I mean, New York Yankees window, I don't think it's closing anytime soon. Neither is the LA Dodgers window. One thing I do want to note here, I mean, as much as we love the Cinderella stories and watching the Arizona Diamondbacks, for instance, last year and just in previous seasons, I think many years ago, actually, with the Washington Nationals, like all that different stuff, like watching these teams come out of nowhere at the end, there is something, I would say, it's just nice to see that the number one team in the National League from all season long and the number one team in the American League, like the two teams, because that's always my thing with MLB playoffs. Because I don't think it does justice to the overarching story that was the regular. You guys were the fucking best for 162 games. ultimately, I think you deserve to be in this moment, and both of you made it here. You weathered the storm. You weathered the New York Mets. You handled the Cleveland Guardians. It is going to be really exciting. Expect to see home runs in this series, folks. Expect to see home runs in this series. Believe it or not, even in the entire era of steroids, the era where pitching was not nearly as dominant as it is right now, there has never been in the history of the game of baseball 2 50-home run hitters on opposing teams going against one another. Of course, we're talking about Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. Kind of shocking, actually, that this has never happened before. I know 50 home runs is a lot,
era,
but
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they didn't have the teams around them. I mean, it's also shocking. Like, I mean, that's why baseball's such a not a one individual player sport. I mean, Shohei Ohtani was on the Angels for so long, never touched the postseason, and now finally in his first year on a good team, he's touching the postseason. So,
right.
Yeah, no, expect a lot of firepower in this one, right? I mean, and expect it from unexpected people because you had in the LA Dodgers series, going back to the NLCS with the Mets, you had Tommy Edman kind of show up in a big moment there. I mean, Tommy Edman, he hits a homer in the last game. He drove in 4 RBIs. He tied Dodgers postseason series record for most home runs with Corey Seager with 11 RBIs. Who would have thought?
That's a lot of RBIs.
A lot of RBIs. Tommy Edman, 37 games in the regular season for the LA Dodgers. And he only batted .711 OPS, and then he comes through and actually dominates in this postseason. That's why it's so funny when you think about the postseason. You have all these big power juggernaut names like Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani. Freddie Freeman hasn't even been here in the postseason at all.
No, he
hasn't.
hasn't.
Then you have guys like Tommy Edman just stepping up to the plate and replacing that production from Freddie Freeman. So you could see fireworks not only from those two guys and Aaron Judge and Ohtani, but you can see a lot from a lot of other guys.
Yeah, of course, right? I mean, like, these are deep lineups. We kind of overshadow some of the other players in these lineups because some of their superstars are just so damn good. But, like Gleyber Torres, that guy can hit. Occasionally, he can find it. He is finding it right now. You think about Kike Hernandez over there on the LA Dodgers. Well, when the postseason comes around, that boy can hit, So there's definitely players in here that are going to show up in big ways that might not just be your Shohei Ohtani's and your Aaron Judge.
Yeah, and like you had Giancarlo Stanton out of nowhere. I've seen so many funny memes of like the Undertaker rising from the dead when it's like Giancarlo Stanton postseason. He all regular season, this guy looks like an aging, crippling old man that can't swing a bat to save his life. Swinging that garbage, can't round the bases, but as soon as the postseason comes around, he lets it unload.
Well, let me tell you, man, there might be another, I guess, what am I trying to say right now? Another objective here for Giancarlo Stanton. He actually triggered his bonus, if you believe this or not. So he won the ALCS MVP.
No.
He in his contract, like, he'll get an additional $250,000.
Okay, cool.
Like whenever he wins an ALCS MVP. I just thought that was such an interesting thing because,
dude,
that's the type of shit that, like, I mean, yeah, I never would have thought that that's in there for Stanton, but like he was popping off, did in fact win that ALCS MVP, and like guys, like that was earned. We're talking about a player right now with a .294 batting average in the postseason, a 1.179 OPS in the postseason, 11 RBIs, 5 home runs. The power is there from Giancarlo Stanton. This is the type of power that we haven't seen from him in a long, long period of time. This is like back to those, Miami days, just annihilating home runs left, right, and center. He's playing really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, Mookie Betts is right behind him with the second most amount of home runs, 4. He's got 5. He's coming out of nowhere. Postseason standings here. You know what's funny? Correct me if I'm wrong. $36 million is what he's getting paid per year, right? I think so.
It's a lot.
So it's like you win the MVP on one of the biggest stage, second biggest stage of the MLB season, and you only get like $250,000. I don't know. It feels a little light.
I do hear what you're saying there. It's just kind of like that added incentive bonus. Like at the end of the day, like what does $250,000 mean for Stanton? Like nothing. Really nothing.
That's gonna be his party after he wins the World Series.
Exactly. Now, granted, that will bump up to $500,000 if he wins the World Series MVP.
Oh, so he's got to go back to
back.
Yeah.
If he does it back to back, then he will almost make an additional $1 million, and that starts to become like real money. So if you just keep swinging it the way that you're swinging it right now, you are gonna get there, Stanton. But I mean, it's really nice to see him have that resurgence, and the Yankees did need this because you look at the OPS and you look at the average and you look at everything from Aaron Judge, and then you look at that of Stanton and everything like that, and the boys kind of just flip-flop the numbers. You know, like I would expect the production that we're seeing from Stanton coming from Judge, and I expect the production that we're seeing from Judge coming from Stanton, and Stanton is kind of picking up the slack right now that Aaron Judge is not showing up in the big moments, but he will need to, I would imagine, get things going if they want to knock off the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, Judge has been slowly showing a bit of signs of life. He homered in the last couple games, but really, like, you know, it hasn't been what we've been used to with Aaron Judge over the full postseason. But, you know, the World Series is a new series, and you could see, you know, a bunch of people come alive and a bunch of people fall asleep. I mean, I'm looking at the whole the Yankees lineup. Like, there's only a handful of guys that are actually doing it. Juan Soto, I mean, it's just a godsend. I mean, that at bat to finish off the game in Cleveland. When he had the 7-pitch at bat, he fouled off 4 breaking balls, waiting for the fastball, gets one high up in the zone, sends it over the fence. I mean, that's just vintage Juan Soto. He never wavers. Doesn't matter what time of year of it is. He is going to be elite Juan Soto throughout his entire career. You got him going off Stanton. Gleyber Torres doing good, but after that, it gets kind of shaky. I mean, Volpe's he's not doing too bad, actually. He's batting over 300. But then after that, it gets really, really scary a little bit for these New York Yankees. And, you know, I think the advantage for me would lean towards the Dodgers if I'm looking at a pure just lineup base thing. And, yeah, I mean, the Yankees are going to have to get something going, and they're going to have to stay hot if they want a chance in this series,
well,
to be honest.
Of course. I mean, like, everyone's going to need to stay hot. Just to circle back to that Juan Soto conversation, I mean, I thought it was so cool watching that at-bat. If you guys haven't already done so, go check it out on YouTube. Emily posted the entire at-bat. It's really, really good. But, you know, like, this guy's down 1-2, and, you know, what is a massive, like, big pressure moment. And he looks like he's got the pitcher exactly where he wants him.
It looks like him May 15th on like a Saturday afternoon.
It's like it's nothing.
It's
nothing at all. And you know, like he knows, so you know he's gonna do it. You can just see it in the eyeballs that it's like this guy is so confident. It's crazy how confident he is. Like, you know, whenever anybody tells you like you gotta have confidence, you gotta believe in yourself, like Juan Soto's the fucking epitome of that.
Yeah.
You know, like this guy is believing himself to the very end. Like he knows he's always gonna come up clutch, and he did in that moment. You saw afterwards, Jazz, like honestly,
Jazz's interview,
all of the Yankee fans. I even saw like Marcus Stroman tweeting about it and stuff like that. But you know, just like the Yankee players kind of coming to Juan Soto's back and just talking about how incredible of a player he really is. Jazz Chisholm Jr. in the interview post-game when they were doing the champagne showers and everything like that, I was talking about, like, of course I knew he was going to do it. He is Juan Soto. Pay the man $700 million. I don't know if he's going to get quite 700, but he's going to get pretty damn close with what he is doing.
I'm not going to lie, like, I think someone, especially if there's a lot, I mean, there's going to be like every team and their mother in on Juan Soto this offseason, and I think that price could actually, I think it's going to be over 600 at least. I think that price is going to be jacked the hell up because you're seeing what he's doing. This guy, in his career, over 9 series in the postseason, he has an OPS over 906. It almost is the exact same identical slash line as this guy puts up in his career slash. Like,
right.
I mean, he's in a career slash of 953 OPS. Oh, it gets a little bit more harder in the postseason, 903. Oh, my God.
And keeping in mind as well that there were some times where, like, you know, like that slash line's going back to when this guy was, like, age 20. 21.
Yeah, like,
you know, like
20, 23, and then 25. He's been in the postseason 3 times. Wow, 3 different teams: Washington, San Diego, and New York. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. And this guy's entering his prime right now.
That's the thing. Yeah,
I would highly believe after looking at what Ohtani got last offseason, this guy, I would not be shocked. I'm serious if he got $700 million.
Just because the age for him, you know, like the age is so good. Like you're literally talking about 26. You know, like some guys don't even make their MLB debut until 26 years old. And this guy's already put up 36.5 WAR before that age, you know? Like we're talking about somebody who's got over 200 home runs. And he's not 26 yet. This is going to be a Hall of Famer for sure at this point. Like, he is so locked in. I mean, it's impossible to say that somebody's going to be a Hall of Famer at 25, but it is possible when you're talking about Juan Soto. And also, I was telling Adam just before we started recording, if he goes on to win, another ring, like, I don't want to go so far to say like this is, the Tom Brady of baseball or anything like that, but it is really damn hard to win World Series, consecutively with different teams in baseball. That would be 2 rings for Juan Soto before he's age 26.
Right.
This is starting to add up. You're going to have whatever team you are signed with, is going to be a very powerful team. Yeah. Let's think it's the Yankees, for instance. Yeah. They're obviously going to build around you for years to come. Yeah. That's one hell of a start to a career.
That's the thing, right? And obviously, like I said before, baseball's more team than individual, especially when everybody actually. I can't even make a point. Like pitchers and hitters, they have their own individual times that they can show up. And for Juan Soto, I think that Washington Nationals run back in 2019 was phenomenal. That was one of those historic runs where they overtook the Houston Astros, and it was a big upset. And part of it was Juan Soto. He was part of that team, and Anthony Rendon and everybody on there, and Trey Turner and Max Scherzer. Those are a very historic team. And then what happened after that? Well, they weren't going to sign him back, so he gets traded to other competitive teams, gets traded to the San Diego Padres because they had a good squad and they wanted to win. They didn't get it. Then what happens? Yankees want him. They have a good squad. They want to go win it. So wherever Juan Soto goes, that a team is going to want to win. Because if you add Juan Soto, you're going to have a great chance.
Yeah, and especially if you're investing something like $600, $700 million, you have now made the active decision. Okay, we are going to be in this thing for 14 years. The longevity of Juan Soto's career is our World Series window, and we're going to be going after it every single time. And similarly to Shohei Ohtani, if you do spend upwards of $600 million, I could make the same argument and going, well, if you don't win at least 1 or 2 in that time frame, this contract's kind of a failure, right? Yeah. That's going to be the objective for whichever team does lock Juan Soto down for time. And, if you're talking about a player with almost 1,000 career OPS and all this shit and, several World Series rings, you're going to go down as somebody who is one of the best of all time.
Oh, yeah. Do you think at this point now, the Yankees are almost guaranteed they need to lock him up now after going to the World Series with him?
Well, I would just be so shocked if they don't. Whatever offer is on the table, I don't know how you don't at least match it if you're the New York Yankees or go over that. You're seeing the impact from this guy. You know that obviously all the Yankee players love him. He will come up clutch in the big. He feels like an FU type of Yankee player, he feels like that guy.
And a nice FU. You know what I mean?
Sure,
he's not a dick about it. He's just he's just so confident.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Less cocky, more confident.
Yeah, exactly. And you're thinking that this is somebody right now, looking at it all, that could go down as one of the better players of our generation. If I'm the Yankees, I want that guy to be in my uniform because what he's done with your team has changed everything. He gives Aaron Judge somebody to hit behind. And just think about that. Think about that Yankees lineup if he wasn't in there.
No, I know.
And
it would be they wouldn't.
I don't know if
they wouldn't go this far.
Yeah, I don't think that they'd be here right now. I really don't think that they'd be here. I don't think that they would be the number 1 seed in the American League. I don't think that they'd be here right now.
No.
Juan Soto is critical. I think that they are going to sign him back. If I had to bet money on it, I think he's going to go to the New York Yankees. And they should, because if they win the World Series this year, a massive part of it is going to be this man right here.
Right, absolutely. I want to talk about one kind of fun storyline. Speaking of the Yankees, and they just got off the ALCS with the Guardians. I want to talk about one little funny thing that happened with Emmanuel Clase. I had to bring it up in this podcast. So Emmanuel Clase, in the game, in the ALCS, he gave up back-to-back home runs to Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, and they lost the game. He then proceeds to go on his social media, and I'm going to watch it right now. He goes on and proceeds to flash his awards, All-Star Game. It looks like he's got American League reliever of the year. What is that? Clase 130 saves plaque. He's just flashing all of his awards.
I'm gonna pause you for 1 second and just clarify something. They did win that game.
They did win that game.
Cleveland won that. So he got blown up, but then the offense bailed him out.
This was game 3 when they came back. Yeah, because it's the only one they won.
Game 4. It was game 4. Yeah, Clase allowed back-to-back homers to Aaron Judge Stanton during the 8th inning of Thursday's thrilling Game 4 contest against the Yankees. Yankees tied and took the lead over the Guardians thanks to the home runs, but ultimately fell to Cleveland in the 10th thanks to the heroics from Noel and David Fry. Okay, so maybe they made a typo here saying it was Game 4.
Oh yeah, because I thought they only had one win, and I thought that was maybe I'm tripping. I'm tripping. But
either way, though, they did win that game. Cleveland did win that game. However, it sure as fuck wasn't because of Emmanuel Clase.
No. I think it's just funny. Like I don't know what prompted him to be like. He's probably getting so much hate online. He probably read it and he's like, no, I gotta prove to everyone like I'm him. I'm still him. Like look, I'm still him. This is just one thing. I don't know. It was kind of funny. I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those things where you just kind of look at and you're like, okay, buddy, like this is just like this looks bad on you. This is embarrassing.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You know what?
I get it. You're a good pitcher. We all know you're a good pitcher, but you blew the game. Like this is not a good thing to go and showboat about your previous accolades. That doesn't matter right now. You know?
No, I for sure, and I definitely hear that too. Like it is kind of silly, and also like you clearly, even though your team won, it's not like you did anything there. No. Like if anything, you should be like supporting
the team, yeah,
posting highlights of a big Christmas, like smacking one out of the ballpark, fucking and
big Christmas.
Thanks for bailing me out, dude. Like respect, like let's go win this fucking thing.
Nah, I'm gonna flash my 130 saves plaque.
Yeah. Now I will say to anybody online that, after they saw him give up a couple home runs to Stanton and Judge, anybody online that's then like chirping Emmanuel Clase, like guys, similarly to him being like kind of ridiculous, that is also ridiculous because he does have all of these goddamn awards. Was it a good game from him? Absolutely not. Did he do anything to help his team win? Absolutely not. But you could also argue that he is the best closer in all of baseball. Maybe even the best pitcher, just pound for pound, pitch for pitch in all of baseball. So I can understand from where he's coming from in the sense of like, you're getting all this hate after like one bad outing, and it's like, okay, guys, like I'm kind of one of the best of all time right now. However, all that being said, still a whack look from Emmanuel Clase.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm actually trying to find right now his postseason stats. Oh, here we go. Postseason pitching. Ooh, he's got a 5.14 career ERA in the postseason.
Not great.
It's not great. So maybe this guy chokes in the postseason when it matters. He might be the greatest closer of all time in the regular season, but I don't know. 11 games, 14 innings. That's bad, Emmanuel Clase. Where's your World Series plaque? That's what I'm saying.
Doesn't have one.
You don't have one.
Man. Yeah, it doesn't have one yet, man.
Not getting one this year.
No, not getting one this one. Not with the Guardians.
I had to take my shots right there at a Clase.
That's fine.
I had to get my licks in. So.
Yeah. Get your licks in. Get your licks in, man. But yeah, still a weird one there by Clase. Ultimately, they are heading on home. Cleveland, you had a good year, guys. Came up a bit short. At the end of the day, it's just going to be that much harder when you're dealing with a team that's got $200 million of payroll. Like if you had an additional $200 million to spend, would you have beat them? Probably.
Yeah,
because you were pretty damn close. Similarly, over there on the New York Mets, shout out for having a great run, guys.
Yeah.
Like I saw some of the Barstool boys. Like obviously, there's a lot of New York Mets fans with the Barstool gang and Frank the Tank. I don't know if you know Frank the Tank.
Oh yeah, Frank.
He's always he was actually pretty respectful this time around.
Wow.
Like normally he has his tantrums and blow-ups and shit like that. But I think even he was fully recognizing the fact that, this was ultimately a good year. Obviously sad and disappointed and all, as you're going to be. That's what it is to be a sports fan. But, at the end of the day, you got to feel proud about what this team accomplished to go from where they were in May or June. I forget when it was that Grimace did his whole shit.
Yeah.
But, from May or June to then end up, a couple games away from the World Series,
You know what?
Shout out.
To a lesser extent, I guess, because of the payroll, they do remind me a lot, and I always bring this up, the 2015 Jays, where they went on just a magical seasonal run, and then they lost in the ALCS, and I think they lost in Game 6 as well. So it's like, okay, you know what? You're happy with that season. That season you can look back on and be like, that was magical. That was entertaining, and I'm proud of that year. And you can take home all the memes and feel good. And you can also feel good that you got a lot of things coming out of it. Yes, you have Pete Alonso maybe leaving, but you also have Mark Vientos actually showing up and being quite a guy for you. Something you could build on moving forward, right? Obviously, you're going to still have Lindor, but now you add Mark Vientos into this mix. And in the postseason this year, in 55 at-bats, this guy almost hit for a 1,000 OPS.
Sure.
5 homers, right? He tied Giancarlo Stanton in home runs this postseason. Like, that's phenomenal. So if I'm a Mets fan, I could feel good hanging my hat on this season.
Well, and I'm also a big believer, too, in momentum, and I do think that momentum can carry over from season to season. You know, You're walking into the offseason right now. All of those boys that are going to be on the New York Mets, they're happy, but they're also hungry because they were, you know, like within spitting distance of getting to the big game, getting to that big dance. They're going to be, you know, attacking the offseason. If you're a Mets, if you're part of the you know, the Mets training staff, the Mets program, you can feel good that your program, it is actually working. You know, because if you walk into the offseason and, you know, spending all that money, not making playoffs, you're like, well, what the, like, where do we even start? What do we do here? Like, do we fire the coaches? Do we get rid of the training staff? Like, do we trade the players? I don't even know where to begin. Now, at least, having finished the way that you finished with the energy and the electricity that you were playing at, I mean, now you have a direct, you could feel confidence, like, okay, you know what? Actually, coaching is good. Management is good here. You know, like, we are on to something. Let's do it again. Let's go in some more.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and they got to do it with almost like an entirely new personnel. Like I just looked up their player contracts. There's a lot of guys leaving this offseason. Like, take this in. So
Steve Cohen won't let it happen.
Yeah, I know.
I believe in big money, Steve.
Well, take this in. So they paid $311 million to their players this year. That's a lot of effing money.
Lot of money.
A lot of money, right? It's dropping down to $127 million next year, and that doesn't include arbitration.
Because
so they still got to do that. But they only have about like 5-6 guys going into arbitration, so they actually have like a lot of money to spend. These are the guys that they're losing. Jose Quintana, starting pitcher. Pete Alonso's obviously a big name. Luis Severino, starting pitcher. JD Martinez was a late free agent pickup for them last year. Harrison Bader, their bench guy, center fielder. Adam Ottavino, Ryan Stanek. Those two bullpen guys right there. They're also losing Drew Smith. I don't actually know who that is. Jesse Winker was a great trade acquisition right there. And then they're also going to probably lose Manaea. He's probably going to opt out after this year because of his amazing last little stretch there. So you're losing 3 starting pitchers, 2 bullpen guys, your star first baseman. They got a lot of work to do.
Well, here's the thing, though. You know, yes, we can. You know, you can definitely paint that in a negative light, but I could also put it back and say, Uncle Steve, if they spent 311, and they got 127 on the books right now,
so effectively
Uncle Steve's got 200 and 150 to 200 million dollars to spend this offseason, and he probably made a lot. He's gonna spend that money,
and he probably made a lot. You know,
he did.
He didn't spend so much last offseason. He spent a lot the season before. So yeah, I mean,
that's the thing. And now he's got the taste as well.
Oh yeah,
you know,
they want to go back.
The previous season they didn't make postseason. So then, you know, in this offseason, he's like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know the direction. Now you made postseason.
Exactly.
You went after it. You were close.
You run it back.
I mean, and and listen, you are watching Juan Soto do crazy shit. You got the money to spend.
Right.
I think the battle between the Mets and the Yankees for Juan Soto is going to be a heated one this offseason. I don't see him going anywhere else other than one of those two. Like, he's staying in New York.
Yeah.
And I would probably think it's going to be the Yankees.
Yeah.
But if anybody's going to give them a run for their money, it's going to be Uncle Steve.
Yeah, because, you're looking at all that, all that money. That's a lot of money.
Sure.
I would replace Pete Alonso.
That's the thing. Like, if realistically, if the budget is we're gonna spend $200 million just on, this offseason for, next year, can I give 75 of that to Juan Soto and then have 125 left to do other shit?
Sure.
Okay.
Wow, you know what? You know, that's a lot closer than I thought because, Yankees payroll, I'm not really sure. I'll look it up, how much they really got to play with because their payroll is pretty, full. You know, and they don't have a lot of guys coming off the book.
And that is why when you look at the betting odds, it's actually for Juan Soto, where he's going to go, New York Mets and New York Yankees is very tight. Like, they have them very, very close. And also, another thing, too.
Right.
Mets, they were a game or two away from getting where you are right now. So you can still make the argument that they are a competitive team. You don't have to move.
if it really is just about money for Juan Soto, and not about legacy, not about anything like that, then I think that they have a very they do have a good shot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking up their payroll right now. So the Yankees spent $324, a little bit more than the Mets, and then this year they're going to have down to $185. Granted, they have a ton of guys going into arbitration, so that's going to probably eat up a bit. Let's say they've got like $100 million to play with, so that's still going to be a lot to play with. But they also got to go and address some other areas, like they are losing a lot of depth. They're going to lose Torres. They're going to lose Conley. Verdugo. Holmes is a big guy they're going to lose. Loaizaga, but I don't think he even was in their bullpen this year. So, let's see where they go. This could be a good matchup in the free agency market.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be heating up to be a very exciting watch-along. We've broken down the Yankees quite a bit. Let's take a look quickly at the LA Dodgers before we end up giving our kind of overall postseason or World Series, predictions. Shohei Ohtani, the whole narrative about him he can't hit for shit at the leadoff spot and can't hit when people aren't on base. Haven't been hearing too much about that recently because he's got a 286 batting average now in the playoffs and an OPS of 934. So he's alive and well and doing what Shohei Ohtani does.
Not a single stolen base.
That's the thing. I will be honest, I would like to see a little bit of that because that is part of his game, but at the end of the day, not going to complain when you got, 10 RBIs and all the other stuff that you're doing. So, still killing it right now. And, of course, Mookie Betts needs to get a shout-out for what he's done, really picking up the slack. There was that whole narrative, that other narrative where walking into this playoffs, it was dating back to last year, Mookie Betts is I forget what it was, 0 for 17 or something like that in the playoffs. That ain't the case anymore, guys. He is batting .295. He's got an OPS well over 1. Similarly to him, Max Muncy showing up when needed. One of the more underrated Dodger players, I'd say. Really does get forgotten about, but at any given moment, Max Muncy can just immediately pop off and be the best hitter on any team. He is doing that right now. He's got an OPS over 1. I would agree with you, when you talked about it earlier, just pound for pound, lineup for lineup. Probably the LA Dodgers have a little bit of an edge right now walking into this World Series over the New York Yankees.
Yeah, they've scored way more runs than the New York Yankees in the postseason, and arguably, actually not arguably, they had a lot of tough pitchers. I mean, Mets were a little bit softer, I would say, pitching wise than the San Diego Padres. Yankees, though, have had a bit more tough pitching with the Cleveland Guardians and the Royals. I think their pitching staffs are pretty damn good, and they did get through it. So that could be a factor, too. But I think, pound for pound, you're going to have the Dodgers with the advantage. And for me, in this series, you haven't even seen Freddie Freeman. This guy has a bum sprained ankle this entire time, and you have not seen him. Teoscar Hernandez went virtually absent, in this league championship series. So, when you have those kind of star MVP type players, Silver Slugger type players go absent, and you have guys pick it up out of nowhere, like Tommy Edman. We've seen in years past where Chris Taylor picked it up for them. You need those guys to come pick it up. And Will Smith, where's this guy? And he's been on a really, really dark stretch for a very long time, actually, even dating back into the regular season. If they could just have any of those guys turn around in addition to all these other lower guys in the lineup turning it on, then they're scary. And they're doing it, too, with that bullpen. Yeah. And I keep coming back to the fact that we were counting them out because of their bullpen, and they locked it down in Game 6 with a bullpen day.
Yeah,
and that's their bread. That's probably their best starting pitcher, quote unquote. They could roll out there.
For me, it does that's their X factor, man. Not even mentioning the fact that they have the most home runs in the postseason, 20 compared to the New York Yankees, 13. So they are hitting a lot more bombs. But I do think that the X factor is the bullpen there, guys. Blake Trinan, all of those guys in that bullpen, hats off to them for doing it time and time again. I'm trying to find the reliever ERA here by by team. So actually, the Yankees are really, really good.
Yankees have been very good.
Yeah, relievers.
Been awesome.
Now, granted. So here's the thing. From a reliever standpoint, the Dodgers have a higher ERA than the New York Yankees, just the relievers, but they've also pitched about 20 more innings than the Yankees. They've just been eating up innings, and it has been filling in those gaps when you look at their pitchers, because the one area of concern for me, and I am still concerned about this, is those starters for the Dodgers. The way that you're going to win this series, if you're the New York Yankees, it just sounds so easy when I say it like this, is you got to get to them early. Seriously, because you look at Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Flaherty and Buehler, and like the guys are going to be starting the games here for them. None of them are really popping off in the postseason so far.
Well, the thing was, in the entire NLCS, the 2 games the Mets won, they got to them early.
Yeah.
And it's funny enough, in Game 6, that was the first lead change the entire series. So whoever won that series was just, we got to that starting pitcher early, and it's going to be the same thing here because, Flaherty's ERA 7.04 this postseason. Yoshinobu Yamamoto 5.11, Buehler 6. Like, and what's funny is Trinan, in 6 games, has pitched 8 innings, and then in 2 games, Walker Buehler has pitched 9. So Trinan's basically a starting pitcher at this point in terms of the workload.
That's the thing. Like, he's making up, and so many of those other guys are. Like, there's a lot of bullpen guys that still have a 0 in the ERA column for these LA Dodgers. Like,
Evan Phillips.
I think it's just wild. Like that, you have the option if you are the LA Dodgers to put out Flaherty there for 4 innings and then rock with your bullpen after that. And that's just an advantage that you have, I think, over anyone right now. Yes, the New York Yankees bullpen is very good. I don't want to take anything away from that. But the way that these guys are playing and picking up the slack, like, it is truly impressive. And I really do believe that if you don't get to Yamamoto or Flaherty or Buehler or the starter, if you don't attack the LA Dodgers the first time through the lineup, you're going to have a really hard time getting to them later in the ball game.
Absolutely, because they're going to attack you, right? And looking at the New York Yankees, you have Garrett Cole, who actually got roughed up in the recent outing, I believe, and he's had a lot of walks. Like the breakdown here, I'm reading this SN article, is like Garrett Cole has looked just not like Garrett Cole. The numbers haven't been too bad. They've been very good, actually.
Still,
331 ERA, but the whip is up to 1.53. So I'm curious to see what an LA Dodger lineup will do when they get to Cole, whereas the Guardians really didn't have too much depth. Like, a fully deep Dodgers lineup might be able to get to Cole in probably Game 1 is when he's going to be rolled out.
That's like the only thing that we think we know is that Garrett Cole will be starting Game 1 for the Yankees. It's tough to predict after that, though.
Yeah, and then you got Carlos Rodon, who's either great or like the worst pitcher ever.
Sure.
In this postseason, 4.40 ERA, and then honestly after that, I don't know how Clark Schmidt's going to look in a postseason against the Dodgers. He's been decent so far in this postseason. And Luis Heel, he's had 1 start, 4 innings pitched. He's given up 2 earned runs. So they're going to have to rely on their bullpen a lot too. I think, honestly, they're going to have to bring them out there. And their bullpen's been okay. It's been better than the Dodgers, but the guys that are really going to have to stand out and pitch really well are Luke Weaver. Conley's been awesome. Those are 2 guys they're going to have to really rely on because the deeper parts of their bullpen have been kind of shaky. Like, you've got Jake Cousins, leader Ian Hamilton. I mean, we know all about Tim Mays. You can't rely on that guy in a bright spot. So they're going to have to really get those innings, and they're going to have to attack that starting pitcher.
Yeah, I do believe that, like, if this team is going to win, if the Yankees are going to do this, like, you're going to need Garrett Cole to be Garrett Cole. Like, that's one of your guys, right? Like, that's one of your, when you think about the advantages that you have, at the end of the day, like, they over on the LA Dodgers don't have somebody like a Garrett Cole. So you need your guy, which is Garrett Cole, to come out here and to give you 6 scoreless and to lock it down. Because you're going to have to go, depending on the length of the series, minimum twice, probably 3 times if it really is you're getting into Game 6, Game 7 type thing. So that's going to be one of your X factors. Can he be that guy that he can be in the regular season? Can he do it at the biggest moment? It's going to be a really tight series, man, and that is why, shout out to Betway, folks. The betting odds are so close. I had it up. Where did I have it?
Yeah, they are very, very close, guys.
Here they go. Yeah. So right now, Dodgers favorited a little bit. New York Yankees, the slight underdog. If you were to bet on them to win the entire thing, you would just a little bit more than 2x your money. So honestly, not that much. Like, the Dodgers are the favorites here, but it is so tight.
What's the Betway lines there?
So it's 1.76 for the Dodgers and then 2.1 for the Yankees. So
if you guys don't know, that's a multiplier. Betway does a different system. So okay, that makes sense.
It's tight. It is pretty tight. Like, again, Yankees, slight underdogs. Dodgers, slight favorites. But we are talking the difference of not a whole lot here. Like it is really, really close. Everything being considered, where are you at right now? And walk me through your thinking for this series.
Yeah, I mean, kind of piggybacking off what we were just talking about, can you get to the pitchers early? And, who are the guys that are going to be getting to the pitchers early? And, thinking about the Dodgers, bullpen days and how successful it's been, and they've been proving everybody wrong, aka us. For me, I am leaning Dodgers in this one. I've been kind of feeling like this is the season that they're going to do it. First year with Ohtani, he's going to show up, and he's already been showing up. I do think this Dodger bullpen day strat is working, and it's the way to go. And when I look over, it's more to do with the Yankees side of things. Like, they have guys who are doing good, but then it's a steep drop-off, and they really need a lot of their guys to stay good, like Stanton. Is Stanton going to stay good? Is Torres going to stay good? Torres has been having a pretty consistent postseason, but they need Jazz Chisholm to show up. They're going to need Aaron Judge to show up. Verdugo, where are you? Anthony Rizzo, where are you? Like, they're going to need guys to show up in this postseason, and it's going to be tough when you're facing a new pitcher every other at-bat that you're playing in this postseason. So, for me, I am leaning Dodgers. It feels like they've got the momentum, and I'm thinking the Dodgers are going to take it in 6 games.
6 games.
6 games.
I'll tell you right now, folks. I'm a 7-gamer in this regard. I don't even know who I'm picking, but I think this is a 7-gamer. I think that when you're talking about two Titans like this, we were joking around at the beginning of this whole thing, like, oh, like it's scripted, because it feels that way. I think it's going to feel even more scripted when you do see it go to Game 7, and it is like, oh shit, like it's Ohtani and it's Judge and it's Game 7, and I just think a series like this, when you're talking about these two juggernauts that are so even, with one another, because sure, we're talking about a little bit, a little bit of difference here between the bullpen or between the hitters. I really do believe that this is going to be a tight one. I think if I had to bet my life on it, I would also inevitably lean with the LA Dodgers in 7 games. But man, like something about that Soto at bat just, makes me feel a bit of a different way. Maybe it's because I haven't watched an Ohtani at bat in a couple days. But like, damn, dude, he just looks so goddamn locked in. And they handled the Cleveland Guardians. Like there was no pushback at all. And I know we've been sleeping on the Guardians, but they were a very, very good team.
They were.
And you ran over them. You just ran over them. I'm so split, everybody. I'll go Dodgers in 7, but I mean, I could flip-flop back and forth on this, in a couple hours.
I like, if I were to break down each part of their teams, starting pitching, I would lean to the Dodgers to the Yankees, of course, just because they have good starting pitching depth. Bullpen, I'm leaning Dodgers. Like they are experienced in this bullpen or in this postseason atmosphere. And then lineup, I'm leaning Dodgers. So for me, it's like, there's a slight favorite there. That's all I really need to look at.
And here's the thing, though. I think maybe
and then they got the home field advantage too. They've got 4 games at home.
They do have the home field advantage, but maybe the swing, man, is like when we're breaking it down like that. Maybe the swing is the bullpen because. Sure, I'll go hitting Dodgers and I'll go starting pitching New York Yankees. But when you look at that bullpen, it's actually really damn close. How do I get back to
I know, like
relievers?
the team ERA, like total ERA.
The total ERA, like they've pitched 20 less innings, but they have like a 2.5 ERA for the New York Yankees, whereas the LA Dodgers, they're up at like 3.2. So I mean, it is so close.
You're getting way more innings out of your starting pitchers than you are for the Dodgers. Like for the starting pitchers, they've got 16, 14. 9 and then 4 because they only pitch Shield once, and then on the Dodgers side of things you have 15, 12, 9, and that's it. That's all their guys. So for me it's like the other side's getting worked, but I think that almost like they've gotten used to this postseason role, like of just having to like band-aid this thing together, duct tape this thing together, and they've gotten used to whenever you need me, Dave Roberts, put me in. Like they had their closer or the White Sox closer Kopech starting in Game 6. He's never started a game before in the postseason, and you have him doing that. That's because of the matchups, because wherever you want to put me, coach, put me in.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. It's going to be so goddamn tight, folks. Let us know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Before we sign off, let's give a quick shout-out over there to the Tampa Bay Rays for being ridiculous. They're actually going through it right now. Shout-out to everybody that was affected by the hurricane and by all that stuff. Hopefully, the recovery from that has been swift. Us living in Canada, we don't really know what it's like to be hit with such an impactful storm like that. But I can only imagine that it is terrible, and the Rays are feeling the effects from that right now. Tampa Bay, their stadium got destroyed from that storm, and apparently, it's looking like it might not even be ready for next year, which is crazy. You think you got all off season to handle this, but there's got to be a lot of stuff that they gotta do, and they might be looking for other options.
They might be. Also, quick shout out to Greta Bar, everybody. Go check it out, King Street West. We're 50 arcade games. It's super dope. You can turn us to a club at night. Go check it out. Big shout out to Greta for supporting this podcast right here. Yeah, they're looking at other stadiums, and it looks like they're kind of pulling an Oakland Athletic, and I mean, they didn't really have many fans to begin with, and everyone thought they were going to relocate anyways. But they're looking at other Florida spring training stadiums is what we're looking at here. We're looking at Blue Jays 2021 kind of stadium right now. Where they literally have TD Ballpark as one of their potential relocation options because it is the most up to date ballpark in Florida complex. And they're also looking at some other ballparks. They're actually looking at Hard Rock Stadium, which is kind of interesting. That's NFL season right now. And, shout out to the Miami Dolphins. They might actually play there, which, I mean, you're not going to fill that out. You're not going to fill out that stadium.
Oh, God, no.
That feels so wrong that you're, capacity of 65,000. You really think you're going to fill that out?
No way.
Not a chance
I don't
in hell.
think they'd fill that out a single game. No. Not even opening day.
No.
I don't think they'd fill that out.
Not at all, man.
Yeah.
Then you got Lone Depot Park, which is the Miami Marlins Stadium, but I feel like that's going to be a whole conflict of schedule kind of thing. You're gonna have to really plan for that. I just don't see that happening. But then they go on to talk about some other just different parks, other ballparks too around the league, like Truist Park, blah blah blah, Oakland Coliseum. They talked about. Yeah, okay, it's getting ridiculous at this point. But my guess is they're gonna play at a Florida complex stadium. Honestly, maybe TD Ballpark. There could be a pairing there too, especially with them being in the American League East with the Blue Jays and. That's going to be that.
That kind of sucks for the. I mean,
they might sell out a crowd finally.
They might sell out a crowd if they do that. I mean, the one positive to take from any of this is the fact that Tropicana Field was horrendous to begin with, and it's one of those situations where now you're just forced to make it better. Obviously, not the circumstances that you want, but that roof was terrible. Let's make it a different color other than white.
How do we I'm not a roof expert. What color is the right color?
Black seems good.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there.
Yeah, is black going to be? I don't know. I don't know if any color would matter about the heat or whatever coming in. Because that's one thing I was wondering about black. I think that's why it was white to begin with, is the heat getting trapped in there and attracting it. But figure something else other than that creamy white.
Well, you can make the top of it white and just the other side black.
Black. Yeah.
That's how things work.
Listen to us. Guys, listen to us.
I don't know, folks. You listen in the comments down below what they should do, as well as your World Series pick. How many games? Who's going to be the MVP for you then?
We didn't talk about Ohtani. It's scripted.
It's Ohtani.
It's Ohtani.
I would find it, if the Dodgers do win this thing, I'd find it hard to believe that they don't end up finding a way to give it to Ohtani.
If Tommy Edman doesn't hit 11 RBIs and Ohtani just does Ohtani, it's Ohtani.
Yeah, if Ohtani does the same thing as the next guy, like Mookie, if they did the exact same thing, they would give it to Ohtani. Yeah. So I'll go Ohtani too. Ohtani, World Series MVP. Dodgers win in 7. That's what I'm saying. You guys let us know in the comments down below. Who do you have? Please hit that like, smash the subscribe button, folks. We're going to be live for that first game on Friday. Should be a great one. I'm actually pretty excited to watch that. I'm going to have to make some bets on that one. Shout out to Betway as well. But hit that like, smash the subscribe button. We will see you in the next one.
Cheers.